Hi everyone, Psalmist David here with another fresh bread, a word of inspiration, and then some music. So we'll just flow. We'll just flow today. I have a little word that it's a place where God has me now, and I feel there's some people because often when I feel God is saying has me in a certain season or a time, it's not only me. So I want to encourage somebody out there who's in this season, and it's that Joseph. So in the Old Testament, Genesis, Joseph's story was one of trial, heartache, a lot of frustration, and then God brought him through in a day, in a single day. So, real briefly, Joseph, coat of many colors, and his brothers jealous, and they sold him to slave traders, really, and they took him to the land of Egypt. He was sold as a slave, worked in Potiphar's house, and then things were going extremely well for him. Granted, he had to deal with the grief of his own father, missing his own father and his home life because he was now sold as a slave. But in terms of his work life, it was going extremely well. And then Potiphar's wife messed him up, and he ends up in jail. And so he is in prison. But it keeps saying God's favor is with him. God's favor. You can read it. It's Genesis. I guess it starts around chapter 39 or so, 37 really, and it goes right through. And so suddenly one day, so Joseph is interpreting dreams for guys who are in prison with him, and he tells one, your end is nigh. You are going to be killed in 3 days, and the other one, you are going to be reinstated in your job, and it happens. But the one who regains his job forgets about Joseph, and so God really has him in this cycle, and he must have been saying, because he's the one who had the dream of having a place of authority and people bowing down to him. And I don't think it was necessarily pride. It was just a dream that God gave him, that he was going to be leader. And that set in motion a whole course of, issues and errors and trials and testings that came one after another. So he is in prison, and one day Pharaoh has a dream, and the butler, who was the one who was restored, remembers finally. Yes, I know this guy who can interpret dreams. Cut the story short. Joseph is then called because he is being chosen to interpret Pharaoh's dream. And in one day, he is called, and they have to shave him up, get him ready. He gets into the palace, and he hears Pharaoh's dream, and he interprets it for him. And Pharaoh says, well, this is an amazing thing. Who can I get to carry out what you are recommending? Because the dream, of course, is, you may know, it was 7 years of plenty and bounty and lots of grain, lots of harvesting of crops, followed by 7 years of absolute famine. And so the whole point was to store up during the 7 years of plenty, so that when the famine hits, you would have food to use for your own countrymen, and then also to sell. So Pharaoh then says, Joseph, you will be the one who will do this, and so you will be number 2 to me. So in one day, God sets this thing up, and I feel God is doing this with me after many years of trying to see something happen. God is getting ready to absolutely burst forth, and I feel I'm not the only one here. So I'm just telling you that as it was with Joseph, so it's going to be with you. I don't think that's for everybody. But those of you who sense that there's a time coming, 2023 is not just going to be one more year. This is going to be a destiny year. This is going to be a pinnacle year, a year in which many things God has spoken come to fruition. And you get to see with your eyes, this is what I have been praying for and seeking for and working for my whole life, really. So what I want to bring to our attention is one of the gifts that Pharaoh gave Joseph was a wife. I mean, wonderful. So he has this lovely wife, and they have 2 kids, and the naming of the children is important. And I think this is what I want to share with you. So Genesis 41, verse 51, Joseph called the name of the firstborn, his first son, Manasseh, for God has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. So the father's house part was the grief. God has caused him to forget the toil and the grief. So there's so much joy with seeing this thing come to fulfillment, this goal being actualized, this dream being fulfilled. I mean, it is going to be amazing. So he says, one of the things is my firstborn, my first son. God has made me forget all the pain, all the years, all the toil. And his second son, the name of the second he called Ephraim, for God has caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. So one, he's going to cause you to forget all the toil it has taken to get to this point. And 2, he's going to make you fruitful in the land of affliction. So right where your hardest battles were fought, you will be fruitful. And I feel God is telling me this, but he's also telling some of you out there. So be blessed today and know that your fruitful times are just around the corner. And God is going to cause you to forget all of the toil and the pain that you have suffered in getting to this point. So this is going to be an awesome year. This is going to be a pinnacle year, a vortex year. I mean, just think of all of the names. Yeah, it's going to be the top, the top, the top. And God's going to use you mightily. All right? So be blessed and encouraged. I'm feeling an A minor. Be fruitful, my child, and multiply. I will cause you to forget the toil and the hardships you have suffered. Be fruitful and multiply. Do not worry anymore. I have heard your cry. I've heard your cry, and the time is now. The time is now. It is now. You will forget the pain and the suffering you bore. Will be fruitful in the place of your affliction. Do not worry anymore. Times of joy and refreshing. Just around the corner. Amen. Trust in the Lord. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's just around the corner. Be blessed today.